Namaste. Welcome to our 82nd talk on the Bhagavad Gita. We're in the 17th chapter. We're beginning at the 20th verse. And they've been talking about different activities and how they can have the character of sattva, rajas, or tamas. So that gift, the word is dana, something that's given, bestowed on another person. That gift which is given with the thought, it is to be given. In other words, this is a right and correct thing to do. Not I'll get something back from it, or not if I don't do this, I'll get in trouble. But again, the whole life of the yogi is lived according to ritm, cosmic order. Not God's will in the way it's meant in ignorant religion, but the way things are. That's why I thought of writing a book called The Way Things Are about Sanatana Dharma, but then I found the book superior to anything I could write and put it out under that name. So the gift which is given with the thought or attitude, it is to be given to a worthy person, someone who really deserves it, not necessarily needs it, because there are some very unworthy people that they're poor, they don't have anything, and if you give them money, they'll go blow the money on something utterly foolish, especially naturally drugs and alcohol. So worthy is more than just a nice person and someone you can have some respect for, but it means they're a person who, when they get the help, it will result in something good and something better. They'll become better people, or they will be able to function better or do what is better. But that should be the thought. Because there are some people, it's hopeless. And you need to know it. You go away. I think all of us who've been yogis and who especially found Dharma, there have been people we knew that we liked, even loved, and we think, oh, if they could just understand, if they could just help, not like we wanted to convert them, but that we wanted to benefit them. Often we know people that we say, oh, I really want to know, I hope one day we can find it. And when you find it, you contact them and say, guess what? I found it. And nearly always they say to you, bug off. Quite seriously. In fact, I had a friend that had a friend, and they often said to each other, if one of us finds the real way to get upward, because they knew it was necessary, and to find the truth, or perfect consciousness, or elevate consciousness, we should agree, we'll let the other one know. Fine. So my friend became a yogi, did the yoga, realized it was beneficial. And she actually bought a book which talked about the philosophy, etc. And she wrote a letter to this man and said, we'd always agreed we'd let each other know and so on. And here's this book, and it explains things very well. And she sent it off to him. Well, late one afternoon, I knocked on the door. And when I came in, she said, I'm really so sad. I sent that book to whatever his name was, and I got this letter today. And she handed it to me. And it was just, I think, maybe perhaps the most hateful letter I've ever seen in my life. With even had like a kind of fake parable thing implying that she was just a fanatic and a hypocrite. And actually, she showed me the letter that she sent along with the book. It was very nice, and it was not strong arming or anything. It was not crusading at all. And yet, this is how he sent back to his letter as the way she was, trying to push people around, trying to tell people what to do, and so on, kind of thing, though those weren't his words. So you see, there are the people who say, if I knew the way, if I knew the way. Well, they're lying because they don't know the way. They're quite happy they don't know the way, but they know that they ought to be better, so they say this. And then when they find the way, then they hate the person who showed them the way, who told them where to find the way. So you see, the snake resides in a lot of breasts that appear to be mild and innocent and as positive can be. But once the path to self-transformation comes, see, as long as it's a philosophy, that's all right. As long as it's speculation, or as long as, well, it's somebody else's experience you read and you can say, oh, I really admire that. And perhaps lie and say, I wish I could do that or be that. And then when it really comes, they explode. I've told this before, but I think so. But if not, I'll tell it again. There used to be every year in New York a stage show on Broadway called New Faces of, and then that year. Because there was a man who wanted to be in show business. I don't actually know what his field was, but he was constantly going to these what they call cattle calls, which is where, well, such and such, there may be a role or place in some production. And he went through any that could possibly be applied to him. And he said there was an old lady there that every time, and she was always there, he never went once that she wasn't there. And she'd go up and she'd put some sheet music on the pianist stand, and then she would whistle the song Listen to the Mockingbird, which, as you can imagine, would not have much place in any Broadway show I can think of. And of course, then they'd be told, well, we may let you know or something, and that was it. So, having gone through all this himself, he started going around the country every year and go to major cities and have a notice put in the newspaper that there could be auditions for an upcoming Broadway show. And then he put it together, and each one would do their specialty. There was not like a special musical or anything for them to be in. They did what they did. And he called it New Faces. And a lot of people got their start and became very successful because of this. Oh, well. So the first time that the call was given, a bunch of young people came, and the old lady came. And she whistled, Listen to the Mockingbird. And he thought, this woman has for years been coming to these things. And of course, I don't know what I could possibly do with her, but she's got to have a spot just for the fact she has such marvelous perseverance. So he said to her, I'm not just sure where in the show will fit this, but you've got a spot. To his amazement, she became extremely indignant. She went over and she grabbed the sheet music away from the piano and looked at him and said, I never accept parts. I only audition. And she walked out. A lot of people spiritually are only auditioning. And they get very indignant and very upset if what they pretend they want is indicated to them and offered to them. So be prepared for that also. You see? Yeah. All right. The gift which is given with the thought it is to be given to a worthy person who has done no prior favor to the giver. In other words, it's not a quid pro quo, in a proper place at a proper time. It should be obvious, but it isn't. People do all kinds of inappropriate things at inappropriate times. But the gift is, it's a sensible gift, it's a proper gift, it's something that can be used and at an intelligent time. You don't wait till they're sitting in a restaurant, you walk in and say, well, I decided to give you $75 to so and so for the whole world to know, etc. That gift is considered sattvic. But that gift which is given with aim of recompense, now that means even getting good karma. Now, there's nothing wrong in knowing about karma and nothing wrong in knowing that you do something positive and it will bring good karma and you're glad. But you would have done it anyway, then that's sattvic. But if you do it with the idea, I need to rack up some good karma, or with regard to the giving's fruit, in other words, if I give $500 to this charity, people will say, now there's a good member of our community. Or perhaps if I give enough money, I'll be put on the board that sponsors the thing that I'm subsidizing, you see. Or at least my name will appear on the letterhead. That's often done. This is often a reward for people that give money. Or given reluctantly. I know I ought to do it. I know, well, all right, grudgingly, and do it. But wishing there was a way to get around it, wishing it didn't have to, and usually being really quite rude in the way they present it. I've seen that a lot. Um, or if that's considered Rajasic. I think giving reluctantly is kind of Tamasic, but anyway, Krishna ought to know. The gift which is given at the wrong place or time to unworthy persons, people do that a lot. People that shouldn't be given any help, people shouldn't be given any encouragement or financial help. Like we say, well, give them $40, you know that they'll get drunk on it for a week or two. Without respect or with disdain. And I remember well, we had a thing in my hometown called a rescue mission. And people that were down and out and had no money, and especially those that we called derelicts, they would go there and there'd be food to eat and there'd be a place to sleep and so on. And I went with some people from a local church who just kind of visit and see it. And there was one point where these homeless old men came in and they were going to be given a place to sleep. And I could not believe the contempt that the people showed toward. And they were really rude and abrupt. Well, one of them said, just go through that door. That was it, you know. And one of them asked something, and he just said, you'll find out. And it was as if, you know, we say, like talk to a dog, but most people would not talk to a dog that way. And so they did. And this is, of course, Tamasic. Om Tat Sat. Om, of course, is a pranava. It's a cosmic vibration. It is the keynote of the universe. That is, it is the manifesting power of the universe. Tat means that, the reality, the reality. Sat means both real, we get Sat from, but it also means the truly existent. So, Om Tat Sat, this is known as the triple designation of Brahman, the Absolute. In other words, there is Brahman is manifesting as everything. He's not a stage director. Brahman has become all this. So Brahman has become the Shakti, which manifests as all relative existence, all forms, everything. And the range within which we have experience. Tat is that, the reality that's behind it all. That's just one thing. It's not a them or a they. It's that one thing. In the sense of Ishvara, the creator, and then Sat, the basis of all existence, that is also is everything, Parabrahman, the Parampurusha, the supreme being. So this is how we can think it's really God, but it's three aspects of God. Now this is the Trinity, and people don't understand in Christianity, but the Father is just reality itself. The Son is the consciousness that guides all of evolution and does interrelate with people. And the Holy Spirit, again, it's pneuma in Greek, the holy breath. Sound, it makes a sound. It is Om, the projection of the cosmic sound vibration. And this then is the Holy Trinity and is as much as we can say about God. By this were created of old the Brahmanas, Vedas, and sacrifice. There are books called Brahmanas. They are sort of the rules of the road for society as well as for the individual. Brahmana also could mean a Brahmin, the highest caste, but Brahmana means a knower of Brahman. So, for this is the Dharma of a true Brahmin, Brahmin, that their purpose, their goal is to know the reality. So then, and the Vedas, of course, the divine, you see, it's divine sound vibration. The Vedas, you can recite them and get it to rain. But the real purpose of the Veda is to awaken in you and develop and perfect all aspects. And the Vedas recited correctly does that in relation to the world around us. People don't understand that. A lot of even people who do the fire sacrifices in India, I'm sorry to say, do not understand that. But that's a whole long thing, and you and I are yogis, and fortunately, we don't have to do these things. So these other people have to be derelict in their obligations. So, therefore, the acts of sacrifice, gift, and tapasya, your own spiritual disciplines, self-purification, prescribed by the scriptures, are always begun uttering Om by the Brahmavadan. A Brahmavadan is someone who walks the way of Brahma. In other words, Vada is the way. And in this case, of course, it means the path to Brahman. It's the way to get there. Uttering Tat without interest in fruits, acts of sacrifice, tapasya, and the various acts of gift. This is I didn't read it with a good expression, uttering Tat without interest in the fruits. In other words, the goods of karma. Okay. Uttering that in acts of sacrifice, which can be any kind, ritualistic or just humanitarian, tapasya, spiritual discipline, and the various acts of gift, for there's many ways to benefit people. I hope you're being benefited by these talks on the Gita. All these things are done uttering Tat by the seekers of liberation. Sat is used in the meaning of reality and goodness, uh, that which is benefit and that which is righteous. So also the word sat is used in the sense of an auspicious act. So everything you and I do is sat, even if it's cleaning a house, because you have to do it to maintain it. Putting gasoline in the car, because if you don't, it won't run. So everything that moves life forward, and the correct kind of life, of course, is also sat. And that brings out the sat in us. Steadfastness in sacrifice, tapasya, and gift is called sat, and action in connection with these is designated as sat. Okay, fine. We've got that. Whatever is sacrificed, given, or done, and whatever tapasya is practiced without faith is called asat, unreal. It is nothing here or hereafter, meaning after death. And faith isn't just I believe, in this weakish way that Christianity puts out, but it means it's a kind of an assurance. It's having an intuition that it is relevant, that it is right, and that it will bring benefit to you and to others. Shraddha. And also, Shraddha has another aspect. Shraddha always manifests. If it doesn't, it isn't faith. So faith moves us, impels us even on occasion, to action, to act in according with that which we know and see to be true. So we have come to the end of the 17th chapter, and now have just one more remaining, which is the great summation to which I'm looking forward very much, and I hope you will be being so also. Namaste.